warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aisyah. I am from class 4C and my number student is 075. Here I want to review my next books. I chose the biography books and the title book is Flaws. The author is Virginia Woolf and this textbook about Browning Elizabeth Barrett. The first description of Elizabeth Barrett's rooms has often been read in a convenience page enclosed in the Victorian house that both shelters women from the outside home and guards the patriarchal domination society imposing over them. However, when one focuses on the means of rendering Flaw's experience, it appears that the innocence of participants is spoiled and it immediately is set in sharp contrast with the speech enters as it were Elizabeth's bedroom appears as the locus of artifacts, imitation, assimilation, and the human world in general, and perhaps the world of language, than poetry, to world already removed away from direct contact with the real world. While narration clearly points toward the artificially fictional reconstruction of the description, though the use of modality flows and spontaneous experience is still to see. Flow's spontaneous experience is still one considering as it is made up of myriads of sensation in word, smell, and touch taken oversized and become flows in the metaphor, calling even taste the general style to establish the traditional human categorization of the five senses and the overwhelming importance of the fiction, which is reduced to a frame. Glance 7 is the even statement that Flush should receive a form of vision on it talk much differing and doubling if is more disturbing by what he smell and by what he see. In the mid 1815s, the poet Elizabeth Barrett was given a spinal by her friend Mary Moulton. She later immortalized her companion in her poem, The Flows Made Up. And this the poem, loving friend, the gift of one who her own true fault he writes through their lower nature be my station said with my hand upon thy head, gentle flow creature. In 1933, Virginia Woolf published first on one level is a preceded biography of Elizabeth Barrett Brownings's period, with the information from the poets, letters, and other colored writings. On the other level, the book is the critical of the modern English society. The way Woolf writes the Fluff's interior monology, and because Fluff is a non-human, he is the constitutional forager in his world. This negative allows Woolf to comment on the socioeconomic and class divisions that were prevalent in English at the time. When Mary Mitford brings Fluff to London to live with Elizabeth Barrett, the judge has difficulty adjusting to these new surroundings, which wishes to learn and explore. But it's forcefully thought He should be content to show quality illness being taken for a walk on a chain list. The methods in which flows innate will spinal was are tend to the will fit into life. London function as the metaphor for the always that women are trained to behave as the patriarchal society deems apart. When flush is diagnosed, Woolf used it even as a way to illustrate a song to the make of difference between any social class. Flush observes the dire square in the which he Woolf finds himself, and remarks upon the filthy behaviors of those who have stoned him away and cried ration and payment for his return. With limited opportunities for them to be education and therefore earn a living, the community of people in the slum of Stiegels have turned to exploit of the rich in order to obtain money to survive. Where first make comparison between the brutal slum and the comfortable, free, opportunity home with Elizabeth, you can see the author commenting the London poetry and the class. When Elizabeth and her husband Robert Browning moved to Italy, Flush remarked on the significant social difference between that country and England. Most of all, to notice and the jokes of Quail, there are no hierarchies based on the varied lineage of the conformity to standard. This is, of course, allegorical to the author's view of English aristocracy as the being absurd and based on not man but on the lack of who one's parents happen to be. So, the narrative of the life of Elizabeth by Browning Pat's panel, Virginia Woolf is commenting on all patience of early 20th century English society. Although race is not mentioned, alright, in the textbook, issue of the class income and feminism are the foreign fund. As the eponymous hero of the powerfully conventional biography, Elizabeth Barring's panel flows both reflects the Victorian tradition of the entrepreneurism and allows for the displaying portrait of the Victorian spectres. So that the textbook has been within of the 19th century in the terms of class and gender by adopting the point of view of the dog, expounds the confident and assumptions women had the face in the Victorian spirit, but also in the wolves of the time. It is to me that flows might be a trait of Virginia Woolf on the becoming animal literally with the Victorians by using them as the instrument service her purpose. In the author's sometime considering a statement about flows, her daily battery and the impulse behind it. Explanation that the was meant as a joke on religion, strangely, and her decides to make of her what she feared would be the financial future of the Webbers have often been and quite as well as her dimension of that silly book of loss. What watching my video.